What are you doing? Making content? Content. Yeah, okay. You, you good, man? 4 years. And this is all we have? Dude, making a channel takes time to get up. Channel? More like an empire. Okay, spaceman. Yeah, an empire. An empire, even that takes time to build. But how much longer do we gotta keep waiting? Dude, I don't know, man. It's just kind of rough right now. It's always been rough. Dude, literally every single time we try to make a video, upload, have fun with it, it always comes back to bite us in the end. With nothing gained and still being ignored. What is the point? Do you even like making content? Do you even like doing all this stuff? After 4 years, can you definitely tell me that all this was really worth it at the end? Do you even like being a YouTuber? I'm not necessarily gonna lie, and I'm probably not the only person that feels like this at this point, but I can't tell you how many times I'm kind of feeling done over the trope of characters being gay, honestly, in stories. Like, genuinely, I cannot tell you how done I am. And it's also basically because the vocal ass minority of people keep doing nothing but talking about characters being a part of those type of things and stuff like that. And you can sit here and say, well, you can just ignore it, but that's not really something that's easy to do, considering that every single time that you face this scrolling on social media or something like that, essentially they just constantly keep bringing it up for some reason, and it's all you ever see. We can't look past anything outside of that, right? And I talked about it before, and I had my opinions on it, saying like, oh, if you want to do it, that's fine, but that shouldn't be all there is to a character. But now I'm kind of just at a point where I'm like, yeah, I really don't care to see it at all, if I'm being honest, because again, that's seemingly the only thing that people really care about these characters. What is their status? That's the only thing. If they have a status check, that's like the only thing that matters with the character. If there's anything else, we don't necessarily care, or we'll find some way to hate the character. Which is why a constant status of what you are and what do you like and that type of stuff seemingly to be the only thing that people genuinely really care about. And it's so simple too, because that's all you have to do for a writing standpoint, is to make people like your story. Oh, if your story going bad, if it's not necessarily hitting the numbers it needs to, make a character gay, all better. That's essentially what you have to do, or what eases the brains of these simple ass people that only cares for this one thing and one thing only. Does it make sense to me? Absolutely not. Does it make sense to the writers? Yes, mainly because they know that's the simple route, and that's what's going to protect them at the end of the day. And then what's even worse about it too is when those type of people try to take over every piece of fictional media, try to force their own headcanon, and if anybody says something wrong, then obviously they go after you in some shape and form, and it's just absolutely stupid how that goes, right? So many people be like, oh, this game is actually made for queer people, whatever, and essentially, if you don't like it, then you're just trying to ignore an actual issue. No, I'm not trying to ignore an actual issue. I'm ignoring it because it's stupid and it doesn't make sense. And it's not the only thing that the game has to offer. Like, take Genshin for example. So many people make videos about it, how it's like, oh, it's a bunch of gay characters and all that type of stuff, but at the end of the day, the game never really explicitly tell you, and it's thankfully thanks to China's censorship. I don't like censorship, but this is the one time I'm like, damn, censorship actually came in clutch, way to go China. But when it comes down to things of everything, it's like, bro, yes, they do imply some relationships, and it does seemingly look like they want to go into certain directions with certain characters. And again, if that's what they wanted to do, perfectly fine. If no one freaked out about it for 10,000 seconds about how constantly it should be in games and whatever, I would have no real deal concern to say anything about it. Like, Beidou and Ningguang, obviously they're sus. That's how it is. But literally anything else is everybody else's headcanon. And honestly, again, they have other ships that exist that isn't gay as well. Like, people like to see Tartaglia and Lamine, as ridiculous as that ship can be, but mainly I prefer more Xiao and Lamine because I feel like that makes a lot more sense and that's a lot more charming. But to be honest, still, even with that one, it's not necessarily the greatest idea, mainly because, think about it, the Traveler, both Lamine and Ether kind of go to different, planets constantly, and they see a whole bunch of different things. So it would be kind of strange if they were to, have a relationship and then go to a different planet. And what? Do you not think they have a relationship with another person on a different planet? Does that mean they did this before? Maybe. For the in-game sort of sense of story, it wouldn't make sense for the Travelers to have any type of real deal relationship with anybody outside of a friendship. It just feels weird and strange, honestly. It wouldn't be correct to have the Traveler to do that, because again, they go to different planets constantly. The only reason why they're stuck onto that is because their powers were sealed. That's the only reason why. But then there's so many people that would just straight up ignore the truth just so they could justify their own reasoning of having two characters that they want to see shack up, just shack up. And again, this is where I give credit to, Genshin a little bit, and I'm grateful that we don't necessarily have these type of relationship moments and stuff like that, honestly. Even though they have hangouts, obviously, it's still like, they're trying to keep it in a very type of controlled environment in a way, and I can at least appreciate that, because of all the games, I'm not necessarily gonna lie, I don't think Genshin really needs to go heavily hard in relationship detailed, of love interest and things like that. It really doesn't. I didn't come here for a love interest of any two characters. I came here to basically save my damn dumbass brother from the effing abyss and see what the hell the fate of this world is gonna be. That's what I came here to do, and have a nice ass time looking at the scenery. That's essentially what I came here to do. And I know so many people be like, well, we can't have anything. We can't have any gay representation. And no, you really can't. Mainly because if I'm looking at things correctly, a lot of y'all really just hate straight people to the point you want to kill them and everything. And then also at the same time, that's the only relationship that you want. I'm sorry if your life was bad or anything like that, but at the same time, it doesn't justify every single relationship that you see that is like hetero needing to be destroyed, and every gay relationship is like the perfect, stronger, obviously like best relationship, even though we know that's a fake ass lie. Honestly, we know that's cap. We know it is. Hell, when you do actually have stories that is catering to part of you in a certain section, y'all don't even get it good. Y'all just basically be told explicitly that this is what it is, and you're gonna have to forcefully like it, and if you don't necessarily like it, well, F you then. Same thing with Spider-Man 2. I know it just came out not too long ago, but like, let's really talk about the Black Cat mission though, because I made a short about it already, but let's go into kind of a little bit greater detail. I really hate that mission. I think that mission is the worst effing mission in the entire game, just because they literally said, oh, I'm gay now, goodbye, I'm going to Paris.
Bonjour, you fucking ass!
That's essentially all they did, right? You had this unique ass concept with the damn scepter that could teleport you to other places, and while the teleportation was cool, that doesn't necessarily save the bitch ass quest though, because it was not good. Granted, you could have done so many other things with the scepter, and then only because I think Doctor Strange got rid of the damn scepter or whatever. It's so ridiculous. There was so many things you could have done, like maybe have Felicia get kidnapped by the damn hunters or whatever, and then Miles saved her ass, and then they could have just beat ass together, and then get the scepter in some shape and form, and then had that as a little bit of a longer mission, and could have just had it to be like that, and then you didn't even have to say anything too explicitly or crazy or anything like that. And if Miles did ask, then you could be like, oh, well, that's the case, then okay, that's a little bit better. Not anything fixable, but it's fine. Or literally have Miles be in trouble and then Black Cat save him, and then talk about the scepter again and kind of just do the same thing, except just in a better way. There's ways you could have gone about it, but they literally just said, oh, I'm gay now, let's dip out of here, that's about it. And you don't see Black Cat for the rest of the effing game. I like how the one character that actually looks pretty damn decent realistically, the one character that actually looks pretty damn good for a character model where everybody else look kind of different and crazy, honestly, the one character that looks actually fine is the one character that they decide to say, yeah, let's just make him gay. Just because. And looking online, I hardly see anybody pointing this out. And it's just like, yeah, they just not gonna point this out because they just don't want to get, you know, some sass thrown their way. But you gotta call this shit out when you see it. This shit is just done bad. I'm not gonna hold you. You literally wasted an item of teleportation that could have been used in a cool ass sort of sense. Hell, Kraven could have went after that teleportation item, honestly, and maybe had a whole bunch of hunters from across the world to maybe do some crazy things in New York, but only to waste it on Black Cat because she want to tell you that she's gay now. And you can't really even call that mission world building, because what is it part of it that's, you know, building up the world of Spider-Man? Wait, because one character is gay now? I thought world building honestly would be a little bit more bigger in scope, like the entire world that you're trying to, you know, have dished out when it comes to lore and anything like that. Something that kind of affects the whole world, or that is a bigger thing than the actual main character itself. Like, that's not world building, that's just something you just wanted to chuck in just because. My whole point is the characters and their status of who they like and whatever should not outweigh the plots of the show. It's why a lot of times that My Hero kind of sucks, is because people are so hyper focused on what character is bi and what character is gay and whatever, to the point that you miss the entire point of what the show is trying to be. Granted, the show kind of sucks right now because literally All Might is still alive and they was gonna try to kill him, but they didn't. Toga honestly kind of should have died, even though I like Toga. She kind of should have died, but they didn't kill her because fans and whatever, which is kind of annoying. And it just doesn't hit well as the show kind of progresses. And honestly, the only thing that's like the big takeaway is that people just only care for Ochako and Toga, and that's essentially it. No one really cares about the rest of the damn story, honestly. That's the only thing that matters, because of course it is. And let's not act like Japan is completely innocent when it comes to it too, because, you know, there is definitely a lot of things that is out there, right? Granted, it's not 100% explicitly in your face about the concept of it, and it's not necessarily the whole point of the damn story a lot of the damn time when it comes to it, but it is there, let's be completely honest. But it's not in the worst possible way. That being said, I can't really excuse anything like Final Fantasy with recently what they did with 7 with the Honeybee place, and now Golden Saucer and Rebirth when that comes out, and then Dion in 16 when it comes down to things. And I believe Zombieland Saga had like a trans character too, which I guess you could say that has a bit of an agenda with it as well, because it kind of does feel like that when it comes down to things. But a lot of times in anime, it's usually used as a gag, or it's not necessarily meant to be taken seriously, even though those types of things are starting to get faded out of existence, which is kind of unfortunate, honestly. But another main thing when it comes down to all this stuff is just that I really do not care for when people are just like, this type of relationship is fine, but when you have like a straight, normal, natural relationship into things, that's like the worst thing on the planet, and it shouldn't be, even though it's been the thing that has kept us alive as a civilization of people for literally eons now. Like, I ain't gonna necessarily hold you, a lot of people when it comes to the gay side of things or whatever essentially just get away with a lot of shit and a lot of hatred when it comes down to things, where if a regular ass straight person did it, they would not get the same treatment, and it's absolutely 100% weird. But the point is, if you just really watch a show and that's all you care for when it comes to the characters, its world, and its story, then you have completely missed the point of what the point of the damn show is even being made for, honestly. Don't come through and try to change stories or try to put the focus on those for absolutely no point and purpose, and try to call that world building when it's not. It's dead ass, I promise you it's not. So yeah, that's essentially what I have for you for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification bells. Also follow me on Patreon if you'd like to donate to the channel. Patreon again is also available as well. And until then, it's me, Boy J, signing off. Have a blessed day. I mean, yeah, kinda. I guess. You guess? It's just that I guess you're right. I guess I thought we would be a little bit more further along than this. But, I mean, we met quite a few people that honestly I didn't think we was ever going to meet, or been in contact with, honestly. Even if they're not huge and big people, still, it's kind of cool to interact at least. But I know that's not our future. Clearly, you're not aware enough. We're still in the hole. We still don't necessarily have what we need to survive, and yet, what, you're making lolly videos? Jinsai? Is that what you want to call it? What purpose does this even serve you at the end? Have you forgotten about our project? Of course not. Kokatsu's story is still, like, something that I've never really gave up on, obviously. I'm not talking about the story. That world is fine. I'm talking about the other world. Dude, we don't have the money for that one yet. You already know we don't even have the voice actors for this shit. People we would have to pay to even get that going. We don't even got people for this story to get that going with. People keep asking for voice actors. And I wish I could deliver. Really. But I just don't have it. As annoying as that sounds, I literally do not have that. I miss that world too. But let's just hope Kakata's story can be a way for that world to exist. We just have to see an opportunity and wait for it, and hopefully we'll get that sometime soon. We can't even make our own opportunity, yet you're trying to wait for one? Let me ask you a question. What's the point of making that world, much less this one, this channel even, if no one cares?